Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Jacob Elyachar Podcast, our 5th anniversary season. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, and chief content producer and writer of jakesake.com, a pop culture entertainment news website. If you're watching this on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel, please. Now, if you're listening to us on any of our audio platforms, please give us a 5-star rating, download this episode, and more episodes, please. I'm thrilled to welcome this celebrity chef to us today. He is a culinary virtuoso, and you may have seen him on Bravo's Below Deck Mediterranean Season 7, and he's the author of Salted. As of this recording, he has over 4,600 Facebook fans and 69,000 Instagram followers. Please let me welcome Chef Dave White to the podcast.
Hey, Jacob. Thanks for having me. Stoked to be here.
It's great to have you here, Chef Dave. Thank you so much for taking time on your schedule to talk with me today. I appreciate it.
No, it's awesome. No, stoked. Yeah, a lot going on. Just got back from Atlanta. Huge barbecue festival with Kamado Joe and some friends that we met in Ukraine a few years back. So it's been a busy weekend, but super fun.
Nice. Have you ever been to Kansas City?
I haven't. No, I haven't been to Kansas City.
Well, when you're going to come into my home, I live in Overland Park, Kansas, suburb of Kansas City, but you got to check out our barbecue if you're ever in here, and I'll make sure to take you on a next tour.
Oh, that's awesome. There was always loads of debate during the Kansas City barbecue and the Texans. So it always gets brought up in conversation, even this weekend in Atlanta, actually.
Oh, yeah, because there's a lot of great barbecue, but like the thing is, once you have Kansas City barbecue, I guarantee you.
Get me over there. Definitely.
All righty. So let's get started, shall we? So when you get interested in cooking, and how did that passion evolve and desire to pursue a career in the culinary arts?
So basically, I didn't really have much going for me as a youngster. It's a bit of a troublemaker. Grades were terrible. But so I started washing dishes at the age of 13 in a pretty big restaurant in my local town. So yeah, I was pretty underwater, 3 days a week, busy weekends, washing so many pots. But I did it for a year. They offered me an apprenticeship. So I did 5 split shifts in the restaurant, and I did 1 day a week at college. Did that for 3 years. I love seeing all the big chefs with the big knives and their large pints of beer. So anyway, I was hooked. I loved it. I loved the whole fire, adrenaline, passion about this whole environment. So I got hooked on it. When I was 18, I got my MVQ 1, 2, and 3. The 3 is pastry. And then I went into London, worked on the Ramsay's restaurants called Claridge's in Park Lane. Then went on to the Ritz and then moved to France. I was literally 19 years of age, super scared to leave my hometown. Went to France, never left the country before. And then I went to France, and I was there for 10 years and basically learned all the classically cooked. All the basic cooking from practical cookery. And it kind of just started from there. Then I ended up on boats, opened up a restaurant, 2 restaurants. COVID hit, lost my restaurants after 3 years, and then I ended up on Below Deck. And that's kind of a speeded up journey of my life, really.
That's amazing. That's incredible that you went through all of that, and then you lost and 3 restaurants, and then COVID just wiped it off the map.
Oh, I was one of my proudest moments of my life. I invested everything I had in it, and the money I saved from yachts. And we created this really cool restaurant in southwest of France in Hossegor. Started off with a brunch place, and we're just doing a little fancy local produce kind of brunch, nice coffee, and then went on to like a more of a kind of fusion Basque. We had this incredible octopus dish on there, like magret de canard from the Basque country, from southwest of France, some of the best duck in the world. It just went on and on from there, and like it was hard work though. I mean, and the tax in France is ridiculous. So, but it was a great journey. It sucks we were such a kind of, I guess, a small business, seasonal, only 6 months of the year. So it was just too much pressure. And I'm glad it was a journey, a rough journey, a fun journey. Learned a lot, but then obviously Below Deck also opened up a lot of doors for me too. So.
Okay, so you brought up Below Deck. So some of my audience recognized you from the season 7 of Below Deck. So how did you get involved with that show?
So basically, when I lost the restaurants, I'm like, what am I going to do now? I didn't want to go back into yachting. I'd done it for 9 years. I was just over it. But it does, you do make good money. I'll get a bit too old to share a bunk bed now. But the opportunity came up, and I went on there. And honestly, the journey, it was tough mentally, but the the culinary background and the cooking skills that I have kind of just about kept me afloat. Excuse the pun. But look, like I said, it opened up a lot of doors for me. Gave me the following to, you know, start creating a recipe book that I've been working on for years, and to get that out there. But yeah, look, I met some great people, and it exposed me to a kind of a different culture. I got my O1 visa from it, which was incredible. I mean, now I can work land-based in America legally, which is a plus.
And that's always a plus. Besides, Bravo can be fun. Bravo can have its own fun and everything. Do you have any memorable moments from the show?
I think honestly, like I've got a really close relationship with Captain Sandy now. Just did the food for her and Leah's wedding in Fort Lauderdale, which was really cool. Me and Z, Courtney, basically a bunch of the guys, we're all really, really close. And being in Florida, they're always kind of in and out, so we get to hang out. So friendship, relationships, 100%. A lot of the producers as well, we're super close. Look, it is a mainly positive. Just the drama that comes with it. I'm such a real person. I speak the truth, and I'm a hard shell, but I got a heart of gold. So it was in moments it was tough, as people know.
I believe it. Believe it. So, if they said, "Hey, wait a minute, Chef Dave, would you like to come back for a second season?" Would you be able to say yes, or?
I think I would definitely consider it. Like I say, I know that Sandy's had some good chefs, but she's also had a couple of bad ones. So I'd love to go back there to support her. And I would also kind of like a little bit of redemption. I'd love to go on there with no drama, no strings attached, and just cook and just kind of blow everyone out of the water, and just have a good time and show a personality, and that personality that I really didn't kind of get to show as much. Like the fun that I had with Z, there was one moment where we were just sitting down in the crew mess, throwing Maltesers at each other. It sounds stupid, but it was just it's a fond memory that I have. I just want to show the funny side, I guess. So I probably would go back there.
Awesome, awesome. So I want to talk to you because in addition to being a chef, you have some very extreme extracurricular activities, my friend. I was doing, including extreme sporting activities like skiing competitions, skydiving, climbing Mount Everest multiple times. Holy guacamole. I'm like, wow. So what goes through your mind when you prepare for these intense activities?
Honestly, like if I've got a little bit of moment time to relax, I get in my head. I overthink a lot of things, so I need to keep busy. When I left the UK, I was in the French Alps in the Savoyard region, a place called Tignes. People might know it as Val d'Isère, like 2 hours from Switzerland. So yeah, I started skiing, and just turned out I was reckless. But after a couple of seasons, I got really good at it. 6 years later, I won a gold medal in freestyle skiing, which is preliminary basically into the Olympics. I had a lot of injuries. I had 2 knee reconstructions. I snapped my ankle, multiple concussions. I was just a lunatic, but I loved it. And it kind of kept my mind at bay, demons at bay, if you like, as well as the cooking. But I did all this in between working. So I was working in a hotel. So I'd go in the morning, do breakfast, prepare lunch, afternoon tea. Then I'd go skiing for 3 hours, and then I'd come back and do a la carte dinner. So it was busy, but I loved it. And then when I had my injuries, I recovered from them. That's when I went on the boats to earn some money. So I can't be a ski bum anymore. And when you're working in the hotels, you don't get much money. You earn good money on yachts. So I was like, what am I going to do now? I'm gonna try and summit Everest. So I climbed Kilimanjaro. I summited the top of Mont Blanc and then skied down, training for Everest. And I was just like, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to raise awareness for mental health. I'm going to take a local charity in the UK called Snow Camp, which takes inner city kids who are struggling to even get into school or college, and it funds them and gives them a lifestyle into skiing onto a dry slope. So it teaches them a skill, which is a positive, a positive movement in their lives. So I did that, raised over £15,000, and then climbed the north side of Mount Everest, into Kathmandu, through the Himalayas, into Tibet. Got food poisoning, had 4,000 meters, had to go back down and then recover, and then head back up. It was a 7-week journey. Took me 7 weeks. Didn't shower for 7 weeks. You lose your appetite because of the altitude. But what an incredible journey! What an amazing experience! The people I met there, all in all, it was just mind blowing, body breaking, but life changing.
And those kids will remember climbing Mount Everest, and they will be doing their secondary schools.
No, absolutely. And I got to meet the kids afterwards as well, which is really cool. And everyone was so grateful, and it was just nice to meet. It's just nice to do something for people that you don't know. It's also fun to do something it's just inspiring for yourself. It gives you that push to get a little bit further. It's not always about you. It's about inspiring others. Where it was also about me, and it was a selfish move because I needed to remold myself. I wanted to almost break myself down and rebuild myself to a stronger being, so to speak.
Absolutely. So speaking of inspiring others, you're going to be inspiring others to going back into the kitchen. So you released your book, Salt. So how long did it take you to create this book from conception to release?
It took me about 3 years. I wanted to do it on a budget, and I wanted it to be quite raw. So basically, the majority of the photos are just from my iPhone. Like the photos from Everest, probably majority from my iPhone and from my GoPro. I just collected all these images, and then I wanted to inspire people to get out of their comfort zone, and even if they have a small space, get out and cook. So the dishes are designed to be there's a few more complex ones, but it's designed to be simple. Just to get out there, give it a go. Even if you make mistakes, you won't do that again. So I wanted to create it in my grammar's terrible. So I actually got my girlfriend to help me with the grammar. So I just wanted it to be fun and a bit more flowing with fluidity. So some recipes you go through and it's kind of like, whoa, how many ingredients do I need to use? How do I do this? So it was very simplistic. Like from Norway, I was ski touring in Norway in the fjords, a place called Finnmark. Incredible, beautiful place with amazing salmon. And I came across this salmon farm in a place called Quarry. So I was like, right, I'm just going to do a section on salmon. And just some people don't really know how to cook salmon properly. So the key is to rest it so it can finish off rosy. You don't want to overcook it. So I just wanted to put in little hints and tips in a fun way, not serious, with some fun places I've been to.
Awesome. And I actually picked out some of the recipes because believe me, there are some really eye-catching books. And I got to say this. I want to start off with your incredible charred bass octopus, my friend. As you can tell, it looks beautiful.
So this is basically, when my restaurants were in the Basque Country, we were basically on the doorstep of San Sebastian. It's probably the culinary hub of the planet, in my opinion. It's also 5 hours from Barcelona. Some incredible restaurants there too. So there's this massive octopus. So the best way to do it, the idea when you cook an octopus, you don't want to boil the water. When you boil the water, you lose the skin on the outside. You want to render that fat down. That's fat. You want to crisp it up. So how they do it in the Basque Country is, I've never been in the kitchens, but from my opinion, they basically shallow fry it in olive oil. So you basically you get your lemon, celery, parsley, onion, garlic in your water, let it simmer, hour and a half, let's just say 90, 95 degrees. Take it out, let it rest, and then into that hot oil and just crisp it up. And honestly, it's so tender, juicy, not dry, and it has this crispy, sweet acidity to it. It's incredible. And then with this roasted red pepper, some smoked paprika, and that puree lime juice, and just blitz that down to almost like a chunky puree, real rustic. with some nice grilled vegetables there. So simple, but the flavors are just delicious.
I gotta say, how for someone that's in Kansas, the Midwest, or like that's or in a landlocked, how can they find octopus?
You can find it I cooked it. I did a pop up in Boston. Most of the time, you can get it frozen as well. And people think when you buy a frozen product, it's bad. It's not always the time. A lot of fish you kind of want frozen. I know it's octopus or fish. Well, people would argue different to that. But sometimes people say freezing octopus, it actually, because of the water particles in the fish, when you defrost it, it expands. So it almost breaks down the fat. Things like tuna, salmon, a lot of sushi people would rather freeze their fish to get rid of the pesticides. So you can get frozen octopus from most places. Thaw it out and then just do the same method. Just never salt it. Never salt the water. Never salt the octopus. That's a myth. Don't do that.
Alrighty, the next recipe I've loved because I'm a huge egg spengler person and I love this Norwegian waffle. It looks absolutely divine.
So we're in Norway, and I love an eggs Benedict too. So we got the salmon, and then you can either do a beetroot cure, which would be magnificent. It's in the book too. So this one we just did like a classic kind of gravel axe, or you can just go to the store and buy some smoked salmon, right? Because again, we don't have time to spend all this time on cooking, especially for your family or your friends. Sometimes you just want a quick dish which is healthy and delicious. So the waffle is just a classic. It's basically a pancake recipe in a waffle machine. Very, very simple. Bicarbonate soda in there just to make it nice and light. You got to smoke salmon, some fresh dill, and then again just a little bit of caviar for garnish. You don't have to have the caviar, and a simple poached egg with white wine or apple cider vinegar. Very simple, very delicious. Maybe some sour cream on there too. But it takes. I mean, how long does it take to poach an egg? 6 minutes. And make a waffle mix. You could do it anyway. You just chuck it all in the bowl and whip that up, get some air into it, and you're good to go. So fun, delicious, salty, with your poached egg. Happy days.
Absolutely, man. Like, if there are any alternatives for some people that have the budget, like recommendations, like with the tartar, especially with the caviar.
So the caviar, this wasn't a fancy like beluga caviar. Sometimes you can go into Whole Foods and you can buy trout's eggs, salmon eggs. If you bought trout eggs or salmon eggs, they'd cost you probably $10. And then just don't even put the caviar on there. You don't even need it. Grate some horseradish on there. No, maybe some fresh peas for a little bit of texture. Don't even put the caviar on there. It's overrated anyway.
I agree completely. So the final recipe I would love to grab is speaking of I want to continue on the salmon trail and conclude, but the last but certainly not least is that fabulous salmon tartare.
Salmon tartare. You know, when you're making a tartare, the classic way in France is your egg yolk, your diced shallot, capers, cornichon, other known as a gherkin, and then a little bit of zest through there at the end. Some people add mayonnaise, a little bit of hot sauce, Tabasco. But this one, because of the fat on the belly of the salmon, right, there's so much flavor there anyway. So all we want to do is add citrus, capers, onions, cornichon, that acidity. And then a little secret is add a little bit of French dressing. So you got your Dijon mustard, your olive oil, and then apple cider vinegar or a balsamic vinegar. And then that just makes it even more creamier. So there's all these little tricks that you can just try out. And then the radish there, just to give it a little bit of spice. And I just sprinkled some black pepper and charcoal on there. More for garnish, but it does help the texture. And it's so simple. You could even just chuck on a little poached egg on there too, which would be lovely. But again, so simple, delicious, clean, healthy, fatty. I mean, is good fat good fat? I don't know. It depends. It depends if you walk it off anyway. But it's definitely a good one.
Awesome. Now I'm for the salmon tartare. Is it basically you cook it with it's cooked salmon, correct?
It's cooked salmon, but I mean the acidity from the lemon juice and the vinegar the acid from that will cook the fish. But technically speaking, it is raw. Like I wouldn't be getting salmon from, say, a public superstore, a public supermarket. I'd be going to a good fishmonger who you trust and grabbing some good fresh salmon, because you don't want to be using, most public store salmon is probably already 7 days old, so I wouldn't be using that. Definitely get a good product.
All right, awesome. And then also, one final question before we leave the recipes. If you could also substitute that with like tuna.
Absolutely.
Or like,
yeah. You can use ahi tuna, for example, or some fresh bluefin or yellowtail tuna, 100%. And you could do a similar recipe. The thing with the tuna, there's so much flavor. A good one for tuna is just sriracha, a little bit of mayonnaise, and loads of lemon zest, and maybe a little bit of cilantro, and it's delicious. Or you could go full Asian. You could go soy, sesame oil. Even a little bit of sweet chili sauce through there, really, really quick. Fresh cilantro, finely diced shallot. Yeah, it's there's so many ingredients out there you can have fun with. Lemongrass, chuck some lemongrass through there, and then just use the balance of flavors, sweet and salty.
Absolutely, all this talk of food is making me hungry.
Yes.
All righty, so we got to start winding down our conversation. So we got to talk to you about your on social media with Instagram, 69,000 Instagram followers. So what are strategies that you and your team use to build that audience?
To be honest, when I was on the show, I got when it was live on Bravo, that's when I got the most of my following. For me, because I'm working so much, so I'm like working 18 hours a day. So I find it really hard to post. I need to get better at it. I want to post more food content. It's more when I finish an event, I get as much content as I can, and then I'll make a reel. Because my PR team, they're incredible, but they're not so much social media. So that's a learning curve for me. So much love to the people that follow me. So I try and get as much content as I can. And then just get as posts as much as I can. But yeah, I still haven't cracked that algorithm. It was definitely when I was on Bravo, that was my huge following for sure.
Awesome, Chef White. So last question, are you ready?
Tell me.
Okay, where can they find you on social media, and where can they buy Salted?
So social media is at Chef Dave White on Instagram, and then I decided to self-publish my book. I was looking for a publisher. I couldn't find one. I'm trying to make myself more known as a chef, and because that's my main passion, extreme sports and cooking, not the reality drama stuff. So yeah, I couldn't find a publisher, so I self-published through Amazon. So you can find it on Amazon. You can just type in Salted, Cooking Saved My Life, or a recipe book with a story to tell, or just Salted. And then the links in my bio and on my links on Instagram.
Awesome. So guys, if you missed an episode of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast, visit our channels on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, Spotify, and Spreaker. Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOB ELYACHAR. Now, are you on social media? Because I'm on social media too. Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, and YouTube. Jacob Elyachar, JACOB ELYACHAR. Want to know what's going on with America's Got Talent this season? Who won the latest season of Masked Singer USA and my new music reviews and more of my interviews? Head over to jakes-take.com. Once again, jakes-take.com. Chef Dave, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to talk to me today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Jake. I appreciate it. Great talking to you. Let's do it again sometime.
Absolutely. And guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, have a great one, everybody. Goodbye.